Hey, Cubs fans, we're back from spring break, and the Cubs are on a roll. And I also got to play catch with the one and only PAUL SKENES. We will be talking about that here next on Boys and Ivy.
Welcome to the Boys and Ivy Chicago Cubs podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Boys and Ivy. I'm your host, Jason Mead, alongside my best friend in the world, Mr. Parker Park Chop Mead. How you doing, Bubba?
I'm doing great. How
We're
are
glad.
you?
I'm great. We're glad to be back, firing up the podcast. So you've been away from it for a week, and we got exactly what we wanted. We came back and got good news from our Chicago Cubs. They've been tearing it up, and they're sitting at the top of the NL Central with a 9-6 record. Could be more happy. But today we got some devastating news. The Cubs, Justin Steele is placed on the 15-day DL with elbow tendonitis. Park, what do you think about that?
That's a really big bummer because he's one of our aces, and he had a very good outing on his last appearance. So that's gonna hurt us because I mean, 15 days is not that long, but then you have to have a guy that you can trust that can do do really good in that spot to pitch against guys from like the Dodgers and other players that just slaughter the ball. So it might it might be someone who is young or like we don't know, but could be like Colin Ray maybe something.
Yeah, we'll see what they happen, but I agree with you. I think it's probably going to be Colin Ray. He's been pitching pretty well, but Steele did have a great outing his last one. He went 7 innings, and the Cubs, he was cruising in that game. He's kind of, he has some rough outings there. I mean, he's 3-1 on the year now, but I mean, he's pitched well. I mean, this last game he was definitely dominant on there, and definitely the Justin Steele of old. And he's had this injury before. Last year, he kind of had the same issue going on. He had a hamstring injury after opening day of baseball last year against the Rangers. So hopefully, this isn't a nagging injury that carries on for the rest of the year. Cubs failed to sweep the Rangers. They lose 6-2 today. And Shota wasn't very good today. Park, what do you think of that?
Yeah, he just got hit around really, but that two homers, I mean, home runs kind of kill you. It like if they have runners like on base and they hit home runs, that's what kills you. So giving up two home runs is not the best thing, but four Ks, five errors, 7 hits, and 5 innings. Yeah, not the outing we were hoping for from him, but I think he'll bounce back. I mean, it's just a bad outing. Everybody has bad outings. I'm not worried about him.
No, he's been dominant the first couple games, and he's pitched well. Yeah, giving up 5 runs today. It just wasn't his best outing, but you have that. You just get back on the bump next time and you give it the best you got. But the Cubs did struggle to hit today. Tyler Mayle's dominated 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run. Say I was the only guy that really hit today, went 2 for 4, but the bottom of the order did nothing. And when you don't get anything from the bottom of the order to roll back to the guys at the top, it's tough to struggle. It's tough to score runs. So what happened in the week that we were away, Parker? The Cubs did what?
They swept the A's. We went 2-3 versus the Padres. It's actually really good because the Padres are actually a really good team, and we went 2-3 versus the Rangers. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, the big sweep of the A's. I mean, they were just bashing the ball. I mean, the Cubs have been tearing it up in the box. I mean, we were wondering if the Cubs had enough offense, and I tell you what, it's definitely showed right out of the gate. We're hitting the baseball. We got enough offense. We just need the bullpen to stay consistent. We need good starting pitching, and if we hit like we've been hitting, the sky's the limit for this team, bud. Cubs sitting at first place at 9-6. And, we've been pretty happy with it, right?
I've been very happy with that. After those two games versus the Dodgers to start, I was kind of worried about if we were going to be able to hit, but we've been hitting the ball, like you said, we've been hitting the ball really well. And there was a person that had a very special night versus the A's. Carson Kelly, cycle.
Carson hit for the cycle, yeah. But no, the Cubs have been bashing the baseball. Not only that, but they've been playing some small ball, which is just I love it. Move the runners along, and because it's been the conditions at Wrigley the last couple games have been super cold, and when it's cold like that, sometimes you got to make things happen. Sometimes you got to manufacture runs, and the Cubs have done a really good job of manufacturing runs, bunting the ball. Oh my God, they're bunting the baseball, stealing bases. I think we're leading the league in stolen bases right now. We got guys that are super fast. PCA, John Birdie, dog. We just got guys that can run, right?
Yep. I just like one thing that I like about players is when they're fast and they can hit. Because if you're fast and you can hit, that's and you can play defense, that's like the ultimate player. You don't have to hit for a bunch of power. Like I think power is like mostly the guys that hit a lot of home runs strike out a lot. They don't really get on base. They're really just home run hitters. And like someone like P, if he turns it around and just like every time he steps up to the plate, those those pitchers are like we have to be careful of where we're throwing these baseballs because he's gonna hit it. That's what I hope. That's
And
what
if
I
you
hope Pete gets, and he can get on base and he can steal bases. Normally, when he gets on base, it's kind of an extra base hit, unless he's dancing
It's
or something.
total chaos on the bases with PCA. Definitely puts another element, and John Birdie too. Cubs have been definitely running wild out of the gate. Cubs lead the league in run score with 96 and a plus run differential of 28. And a big reason for that is this guy right here, Parker. Who is it?
King Tuck, pay the man. Come
Pay
on,
him. Pay him.
339, 5 dongs, 16 ribbies, OPS of 1,178. Straight dog.
Cubs got to give this guy what he wants, right, Parker?
Yeah, I've got to pay him the moolah.
How much money would you give him, bud?
Heck, I'll just give him $1 billion.
Give him a 1 billion.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what's that guy from Austin? Was it Austin Powers? The Doctor Evil guy. $1 billion. No, he said 1 million in that movie, but we're gonna say 1 billion. We want 1 billion for King Tut. Not only has he been tearing the cover off the baseball, but this guy surprisingly, Mister Frustrate Jason Mead, Seiya Suzuki, is hitting the baseball pretty dang well, Park. 4 dongs, 14 RBIs. He's been clutch too.
I guess we put him in the DH spot for a reason, and he's doing his job.
You know what though? Hitting in the second spot with Kyle Tucker behind him, he's going to get pitches to hit. But he can't, the one thing it's going to drive me crazy if he goes back to taking those meatballs right now. I don't want to see that. I want to see him tattooing them baseballs because you don't want to get guys on in front of Kyle Tucker because he's the baddest man on the planet right now. Not only has he been awesome, but this guy's been awesome as well, Parker. Lieutenant
Amazing.
Dansby has been balling out. What do you think of Lieutenant Dansby, Park?
I think he's been doing great. When he steps up to the plate, I feel like when I watch him a lot, he's not like it's kind of like he's super relaxed in the box. I feel like that's what kind of helps him a lot. He just seems relaxed. He's not like wiggling the bat like this, or he's just relaxed, stays back and hits the baseball. And he's a great line drive hitter,
And he sprays the
and he can
ball all
hit
over the
dingers.
place. And I think he's got five. What? I think he's got five now. Does he have five now? I think. Yeah, I think he's got five. But he's healthy this year. I think that's the main reason. Last year he wasn't healthy. This year he's healthy, and not only that, but man, you hit the baseball to him. What happens, Parker?
You're out. You
You're
might you
out.
might as
You're
well
out.
just start
You
walking
might
to
as
the
just.
dugout.
That's right. Yeah. As soon as you hit the ball in that direction, just drop your bat, walk back to the dugout because you're out. You Dansby's a stud. He's probably one of the best shortstops I think I've ever seen. And if he ever gets a statue out in front of Wrigley, build the dang thing is him and that sliding backhand pick, pop, bam, he's out. You are out. Not only has he been great, but this guy is up the middle partner, Nico, hitting 350. Man, this is if these guys can hit like they're doing defensively, sky's the limit. We might win 120 games. Yeah, I said it. I don't. I don't know. Call me crazy. I've been called worse, right, Park?
I guess so. But but one thing about Nico that and his hitting that's really nice to have with the hitter is that he can spread the ball everywhere. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll say this: he doesn't have much power, but he hits the ball.
he hits the ball, and not only great bat to ball skills, you can do a lot of hit and run with him because he can put it wherever you want. And who cares if he don't hit a home run? If he hits 350 all year, I'm good with that. If he plays lights out defense, I'm good with that. And home runs and everything. You move the guys along. You bunt the ball. You hit the ball to the right side with a guy at second base. It's simple baseball. Move the runner along. Cubs head to LA and San Diego for a couple big road series. Now we've talked about the schedule being crazy good out of the gate, and the Cubs are, they're playing really good. So we'll see how we match up against the Dodgers. I hope we go out there and bust their heads, and then take off down to San Diego and bust their heads. What are your thoughts on those two series, Spark?
LA has actually been struggling. They've lost. I think they're like 10-4 now, or something like that. I know they have 10 wins, but I'm kind of I'm kind of like sweating it now that Steele got hurt because he's one of the most important guys to have when you're facing teams like that. But like I would love to see also Cade Horton be able to pitch, but I just don't think he'll be ready for like LA and San Diego teams that
Yeah,
are really good that they can hit the ball. Like you want someone that has more like that has a bunch of experience that can pitch to those guys, or just some pitchers that are ready and good that they can actually pitch to those type of hitters like Shohei or Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Freddie Freeman, like just something like that.
but yeah, we've definitely played well, and San Diego was 8-0 coming into Wrigley, and we put a pop knot on their head and sent them packing back home. But I'm satisfied with what we came back from spring break, and that's coming back nine, and actually we were 9-5 before today, but they played well. We were hoping for a couple of sweeps. We did get one, and the other two out of three were pretty competitive too. And spring break was a blast, right, Parker? Did you have a lot of fun?
I had a lot of fun. Yep.
We went on a cruise, and we went to Dominican. We went to Puerto
Puerto Rico.
Rico, and we went to St. Thomas. Which one was your favorite?
I I'm kind of sitting at Dominican and Puerto Rico. I like the Dominican because it kind of shows you how different like their life is to ours. And Puerto Rico was just awesome walking around, and we went to this like where they used to have wars and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was like from like what was it like 15 something?
Yeah, it's like from the 1500s. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say my favorite place to go is definitely Puerto Rico. I love the history of that place. I love walking down the little brick roads they had. That was really cool. But yeah, I mean, we had a great time. We got in on Saturday and about 12 o'clock into Miami, and we decided, hey, let's wing it and let's go to the Marlins game and check out the Marlins and the Pirates. And Parker, what happened? What happened?
I got to play catch with the one and only Paul Skenes.
So that was a pretty interesting thing. Go ahead and tell everybody the story on how that all came about.
So we went to batting practice and the Marlins were hitting and then next was the Pirates. Well, I've already had two. I think we've had two balls already, and I'm just calling for more just because be I guess just be a kid. And then normally the time when I already have balls that I've got, I really just every time I get another one, I give it to someone else. So I was calling for balls, and there's this one kid that was trying to get the ball, but these kids just like pushed him out of the way and got it. And then me, I try to go in full mode trying to get this kid a ball, and I caught a ball and I gave it to him, and then we walked back up because we were getting thirsty and everything else. But then me and you walked in the team store. I got a Marlins jersey, and hey, don't don't be complaining about me wearing a Marlins jersey. We went to the Marlins Stadium. I got a sweet jersey, and I wore a Cubs hat too. I went to the PC. I had a PCA jersey, but then, anyways, we went and my dad. We were walking down, and my dad says, "Good things happen to good people." We walked down 5 minutes. Couldn't have been more than 5 minutes later. We walked down. Paul Skenes is signing a ton of autographs. Great dude, by the way. And then he was walking away, and I was like, "Paul, can we play catch?" He turns around. We play catch.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal moment there for you. Yeah, it's just crazy how it all happened. But one thing I will say, Paul Skeens, class act. Guys, just an awesome dude. Now, all them Pirates players, I'm gonna call them Pirates players out because I didn't see anybody else out there signing any autographs. And Paul Skeens is a world phenomenon, one of the most popular players in baseball, and he's out there signing a ton for all these kids. Now, I did like that he didn't sign like the backpack guys stuff. He was just signing the kid stuff. That's what you should do. I wouldn't sign a guy for backpack stuff, just trying to sell his stuff. But that's one thing that Paul Skeens, he said out there, sign all them kids' autographs. That was a really cool moment, and took a video of it and we shared it. And it kind of went nuts after that. It kind of went nuts after this guy, Pat McAfee. Once he shared it, that the video went crazy after that part.
Yep, that was awesome because we watched Pat McAfee's podcast. We watched the LeBron one. That was a really good one. We watch them we watch them when we can, and someone like Pat McAfee, if he's gonna put that on his story, it's gonna blow up.
It was pretty cool. So, right here is the picture of Pat McAfee sharing the story of Park and Paul Skeens there. And actually, ESPN contacted us to put it on their platforms too. And it kind of took off from there. But Chad Parker did. Got a lot of people said a lot of nice things, but obviously there's people out there that don't sometimes. But they did get a lot of people did comment on the Marlins jersey and the Cubs hat. But Parker, you can assure all the Cubs fans what?
Hold on. We're good here. I'm still a Cubs fan. I was just wearing the Marlins jersey because the Marlins are playing the game. But Paul Skeens did say a funny comment. Since I was wearing the Marlins jersey Cubs hat, he was like, "Go Pirates!"
Hey kid, go
And then
Pirates.
there's a comment that was like, "Cubs or Marlins? Pick a team, kid."
Pick a team, kid. He can't make up his mind. You're a kid. You just love baseball, right?
Yep.
So yeah, don't get worried, Cubs fan. He's still a Cubs fan. If not, he's got to move out. So, fly or die, kid. That's what would happen if you turned out not to be a Cubs fan. But we want to thank you for tuning in to today's show. Um, we'll be back here in a couple days whenever the Cubs play the Dodgers and the Padres, and hopefully we go on the road. Probably sweep the series, as I'm hoping, but we'll see what happens, right?
Yep. And I just want, yep, thank you for everything. And thanks for watching the show. And the last thing, see ya.
See ya. Thank you for watching the Boys and Ivy Cubs podcast. And like always,
Go Cubs, go!